What separates great coaches from the rest? That's our conversation today on this podcast. Let's jump in. BJ O'Neill here with the Business Coaching Success Podcast. So glad you're here, where I share with you strategies, tools, and tips to be able to grow your business coaching practice to six figures and beyond as a Christian business coach. Let's jump in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad that you are here. We are discussing and talking about what is it that coaches do that separates, the good ones from great ones. What is it that we focus on to build extremely successful business coaching practices? I'm going to break that down, give you my perspective, and I get the question often. What is it I need that what's the big thing, the main thing, right? And so I'm going to share with you my answer to that. Before I do that, you could probably imagine there's obviously not just one thing per se. There's going to be a few things. You look at even like sports. Recently, the Atlanta Braves played the Cincinnati Reds in the Speedway Classic. I think it's the first time ever in a speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. 91,000+ people in Major League Baseball attendance record. When you look at the game of baseball, though, if you were to ask the same question, you could arguably say, man, there's a lot of things you got to focus on, but here's one, two, or three that you really got to get dialed in. I mean, obviously, from a hitting perspective, you have to have the right type of batting average. Otherwise, probably not going to go well. Same thing for pitching, right? If the guy can't strike the guys out and put them down, and he's constantly put them on base, obviously that's going to be a problem. And so while, yes, there's going to be a few things ultimately that separates the best ones from the great ones, but we want to kind of really kind of drill down to really understand what that fully means, okay? And it all stems rather from a phrase. Here's the phrase. So let's rewind for a moment. If you're asking the question, what makes the best coaches from the difference between best, good, best, and great? What is that one thing? What should I focus on? And remember, our community is called Business Coach Mastery. So even if you ask the question, what should I master? Okay, it comes down to one phrase. You ready? Here we go. People by you. Let me spell it out. People, B-U-Y, you. People by you. And if you really think about in the world that, we are just, it's AI, which we use a lot of AI tools. And you should spend time learning and elevating your coaching business, utilizing resources through AI. However, at the end of the day, God created you and I to connect. It is the way humans are wired. That is his image and likeness. And so it's my perspective, number one, that when all the technology, all the advancements, robots, AI, whatever, we're still going to crave human connection, which is the entire premise behind people, B-U-Y, people by you, okay? Before I go any further, if you are considering building a business coaching practice and you just don't have the resources, the tools, or maybe you've been coaching, maybe you've coached for free, maybe you've had the idea, you still have a 9-to-5, you've had the idea for a while, you weren't sure how to systematically put it all together, I invite you to check out our resource of our Done For You business coaching practice, where we give seasoned Christian professionals a complete and total Done For You platform to where you can build the coaching practice that you desire, have the income you desire, the flexibility, whatever that looks like for you. You can go to businesscoachmastery.com. That's a businesscoachmastery.com. There's some information you can get there. You can even schedule a quick chat to learn more about it, to see if it's worth learning more for you. People by you. So there are three things, if you're not aware, that you do need to focus on to master. And the people buying into you, you have to master that inside all these three areas. Number one, where do I get leads and prospects? What's my strategy? What's my message? How do I communicate? Number two, how do I convert those leads and prospects into ongoing, high-paying, monthly clients? And the third, how do I coach to get results with simplicity? Okay? So I don't care who you work with, by yourself, somebody else, me, our team, whatever, you still have to master those 3 areas. And then you begin to lay in the phrase, people buy you in all 3 of those areas. But what does that mean? I'm going to kind of walk that out for a moment. And what does really buying into you look like? Well, number 1, likability is currency. Just think about that just for a moment. Likability is currency. So you can have the best resources, you can have the best tools, but guess what? If they don't like you, no go, right? So like in our system, we use a really high-profile assessment using our coaching software, where we can sit down and help any business find more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending additional monies on marketing or advertising. Super visual, very interactive, very engaging, okay? But with that said, even as engaging that it is, it through AI creates reports. There's dashboards, the columns and pie charts, all this stuff through reporting features. And the cool thing is coaches don't have to do any of it. It's all done for them. It's really cool. But with that said, if that individual, if that business owner isn't jiving with you, and there's just not a reciprocity of likeness, they're just not going to move forward. And so what does this mean? It means we have to work on, not about, I want everyone to like me. It's just about being likable, our presence, our conversations, our ability and a skill set to listen that proves that we can help them, but that we're building a relationship with them. And so if we're just coming across in that moment, and I'm just using that one example where, again, the software's not, it can show what it's going to show, but if they don't like you, if they don't trust you, it's probably going to be difficult. Speaking of trust, that's the second thing. Trust is the real close. Think about that. And that would be that way with anything in the world, even in real estate, right? If we don't trust the realtor, we probably are going to find somebody else to work with. And so as you're building relationship, as you're connecting with people, if they're just not getting a sense of strong trust, they're gonna go cold on you, right? So we have to be authentic. We have to show integrity. Timing matters, right? While we want to have a strong follow-up process in the prospecting phase. Like if you're building, let's say that you're connecting with someone. I'll give 2 examples. Let's say you've connected with someone through a friend or a colleague or somebody you know, right? You're building a relationship. Maybe you connected over an email a couple of times. Maybe you had a Zoom. Maybe you got the opportunity to go get coffee or lunch even. If you rush that process in a manner that it just makes it all about you, it's going to blow a hole in trust. Same thing if you're building a relationship. You went to a networking event, a business breakfast or whatever. Lots of those that go around, and you connected with someone, right? And you don't have a prior relationship with them. So in our first example, there was some baseline trust established through a referral friend. If you're doing the networking game and you're just meeting someone, you shook their hand for the first time in your life, then you really are starting a relationship from scratch. How you handle that relationship from that point on gives you the opportunity to establish trust or sabotage trust. But when you're building trust along the journey, when you get down to the point, again, like in our world where we're utilizing this assessment tool to show them how we can work with them and then what that plan looks like, while that's all good and great, if they're not trusting us in the process, it's probably not going to work. So likability is currency. Trust is the real close. The next one is connection beats content. This is controversial. Connection beats content. Look, I'm a content guy. And if you follow me at all, or if you're on our coaching team, you know that video trainings, podcasts, emails, blogs, every day. So huge believer in content, right? But oftentimes the conversation comes up in our community about, I got to do more social media reels, and I got to do, this over here, this over here. That, those things are all fine and good. LinkedIn posts, yep, those are great. But if we're not connecting with people, and by the way, if you're just getting started, or maybe you've started, but you're just not getting your mojo, you're still trying to find your way, there's no doubt, I've lived it, coached a lot of people through it. Put the content down for a minute and go help somebody, build a relationship, establish trust. Great tools are awesome. Resources are awesome. We need all of those. But at the end of the day, it's the emotional connection. That's the reason why I said earlier that as far as I'm concerned, AI can do whatever it wants to do, but God created us to connect. That's the reason why connection beats content every single day. By the way you listen, the way that you're connected, that helps drive decisions. When there's an uncertainty, which also impacts trust and likability, that's usually where a lack of decision comes into play. Okay, so we want to go into conversations and relationships as we're connecting with people, understanding where they are. Why did they start that business? What's the friction points of the business? Where are they really, developing this keen sense of awareness of both, one, the problems that they believe are the problems, and two, problems that they cannot see, and helping them give aid to seeing what they may have blind spots about. And when you do it correctly, all of those things, again, establish likability, establish trust, and elevates connection. Last thing, value begins with serving and not selling. Write that down. Value begins with serving and not selling. And this is the whole premise behind the phrase, people buy you, B-U-Y. People buy you. Value begins with serving. We want to serve them. We want them to sense that we want, and from a heart perspective, as Christ followers, as believers, all of our entire coaching network is all Christian professionals. So part of why we do what we do, sure, we want to make a good living. We enjoy coaching people. We love the flexibility of all that. But at the end of the day, we want to bring value to everyone. It's one of our core values at Business Coach Mastery. Value to everyone. Some of those people are going to engage in a professional relationship where they're going to invest financially into the growth of their business. But some of them are not, and we still want to bring value. And when you're practicing that value increase on everybody, changes everything. Okay? So there you go. 4 key components of people buying into you. Likability is currency. Trust is the real close. Connection beats content every day. And value begins with serving, not selling. Now, when we are applying these principles, it is it's not a checkbox. It should be a standard to refine and get better at forever. Go back to our sports analogy. You think ball players, regardless of what the sport is, they don't just arrive. They continue daily, weekly, monthly, yearly to refine their game, to improve their skills, right? It's the whole process we talk about all the time in our community. The end result of 1% daily gains. In other words, making small improvements every single day. In these areas, we're not looking to just get to a destination. We're looking to constantly elevate and develop. That's the goal. Constantly elevate and develop. Not for our sake, but for the sake of serving and helping businesses grow profitability, their leadership, and their culture. Super, super important. Okay? Again, if you're interested in learning more about what we do, you can go to businesscoachmastery.com. Get some information there. Schedule a chat if you're interested as well. If not, until next time, take care.